Hey everyone, apologies for the late upload. Today I will be talking about something slightly different than my previous videos, which are usually about different philosophical ideas. This video I'll be talking about my favourite piece of fiction ever, which is Vagabond by, and I'm gonna butcher this, Inoue Takehiko. Vagabond is based on the life of a real-life ronin and samurai, who is most commonly known as Musashi Miyamoto, but also as Shinmen Takezuo and other names. Musashi lived in Sengoku period Japan around the 1500s, where civil war was rampant and so there was many opportunities for ronin and samurai to find work. Before I talk about why I really like Vagabond, I just want to quickly address how sometimes Vagabond is considered part of the big three seinen manga, which is Vagabond, Berserk by Kentaro Miura, and Vinland Saga by Makoto Yukimura. And I haven't read Vinland Saga, but I think I understand the basic premise. So, considering the basic character development, I would say Vinland Saga and Vagabond are pretty similar in my opinion. I have read Berserk though, and to be honest, I know this is going off topic, but I don't really see why it is included as part of the big three. I think Berserk is an amazing piece of fiction, especially in the Golden Arc, which is definitely my favourite arc, maybe of almost any fiction, but in my personal opinion, the character of Guts, who is the main protagonist of Berserk, doesn't change nearly as much in the story as Thorfinn, who is the main character of Vinland Saga, or Musashi Miyamoto, who is, like I said earlier, the main character of Vagabond. I'll go more in depth later in the video, but in Vagabond, Musashi's core character changes drastically, whereas I feel in Berserk, Guts is just kind of stuck in this never-ending struggle throughout the manga that never really changes, and so his character just stays pretty similar throughout. To be fair though, I haven't read Berserk in a while, so yeah, maybe his character does develop more than I thought he did. Anyway, back to Vagabond. The art of Vagabond especially, just as even a side note, is amazing. So even if you don't like the story, I think you will, but even if you don't like the story, you might as well just look at the illustrations. But in my personal opinion, the story of Vagabond is, I would say, the best part of the manga, and also the reason why I just like it so much. Musashi, or as he is known initially at the start, Shinmen Takezuo, is a violent, angry young man whose heart is set on being the strongest, or as he calls it, and as it was known in Japan at the time as invincible under the sun. This is something Musashi's father pursued and actually achieved, as being known as invincible under the sun, and due to his father's abusive nature, Musashi wants to beat him in becoming the best swordsman. Alright, so before I go on, I'm just gonna administer a slight spoiler alert for the next parts of the video. Anyway. So after almost dying, Musashi is spoken to by a Buddhist monk called Takuan Soho, who also was a person that actually existed. Takuan advises Musashi throughout the story, and also gives him some quotes to remember that I also really like. Musashi challenges a lot more swordsmen throughout Vagabond, and therefore kills a lot of people. But especially near the end of the story, you can really see how his character has drastically changed. One quote from Takuan said to Musashi really stuck with me. "Musashi, you've become kinder. You're getting stronger, I see. All truly strong people are kind." And I think that really illustrates how well Vagabond portrays the change in Musashi. From an angry beast-like boy to a calm and kind man. And also how Musashi realizes true strength isn't necessarily about killing everyone and proving himself to be invincible under the sun. Initially, being the strongest warrior was the only thing that Musashi ever cared about, and this was shown to be the main attribute of his character. He wants to be strong. But when Musashi distanced himself from this idea of being invincible, he became a different person because he was less attached to the idea of being strong. And I guess this goes into philosophy, and I mean, you can probably tell by my other videos that I'm kind of interested in that. But even, I think it can just kind of be applied to not necessarily just philosophy, but I think Musashi is a good example of when we get less attached to things, we are happier. Although every piece of fiction has different stories it tells and different methods of telling them, so I would say Berserk tells a story of the struggle of the human will, and Vinland Saga, I would say, seems to tell a story of forgiveness. And also kind of similar to Vagabond about changing, people changing. I think Vagabond is successful in almost all areas it's present in, because the mix of the art, the story, and the characters is done really well. Anyway, I'm gonna make a part 2 of this video, because I find really anything over like 6 minutes, 7 even minutes, seems to take a really long time to upload on YouTube. I don't know if it's just my Wi-Fi, but anyway, I know this was a bit of a shorter one, but thank you for listening, guys.